Hi, I'm here with two esteemed colleagues, Alison Tabel from Theorem Clinical Research and Katz from Purdue Pharma. And we just really finished just a few minutes ago a risk-based monitoring talk with a number of people, a panel discussion, and it was really focused on the views of the world from the small and mid-sized companies in terms of how do they deploy risk-based monitoring, what do they think the risks are, what do they do in terms of what are the next steps in order to get this going. So maybe I can turn to Alison with the first question in terms of how would you sort of summarize the feedback from the panel?
I actually thought the panel discussion was very telling. It's more or less what we thought. What we thought within the industry, that there's a lot of enthusiasm for risk-based monitoring, but actually not a lot of implementation, and still that fear factor of, how do you do it? What do you do? When do you do it? And actually, the how has eluded a lot of people.
Sure, that's great. Mitch, I mean, you might have an opinion or two in terms of your thoughts in terms of what is it that the industry is really looking for? What are the things that you think are most important in terms of the risk-based monitoring paradigm or implementation?
I think many of the companies now are really trying to define what risk-based monitoring is. And I think as an industry, we have to sort of get together and try to define it, on really a personal level. Every company is different, every need is different, and every situation is different. So I think for risk-based monitoring, you have to go back to your organizations and really see what's right for you. I do think that, we heard Ken Katz this morning. He talked about site relationships. I think moving away from the sites are not a good thing. I think we want to maintain that relationship. I think we have to do more as an organization, as a pharma company, to train better, to train our CRAs to better understand the clinical trials. And I think we then need to basically use tools to help us guide the CRAs to do better jobs at the site.
That's great. So Mitch, what are your expectations of your CRO partners in terms of what do they need to bring to the table from a risk-based monitoring standpoint?
I think, from a risk-based monitoring is understanding our organization and company is to be flexible, is to work with us and be flexible, and to help us figure out what is the right risk for us to take as a company. Because taking a risk without our company is very, very different than other companies.
So let's take that from a different perspective then, Alison. So we sat there, we hear Mitch's perspective, we heard a number of people talk about that what they need to do for their respective companies are all different. So how, from the CRO side, do you manage those different expectations in terms of presenting a solution that's suitable not only for what maybe Mitch want, but what somebody else may need?
Absolutely. I think that's a great question. I think part of the problem is that you have so many different audiences to actually pander to. As a CRO, we obviously have our own methodology that we want to put in place, but being cognizant of all of the variances across pharma and biotech, the smaller companies that are coming into risk-based monitoring, they don't really understand it. So flexibility is key. Theorem's wants to be a partner to a lot of companies, and not just from an alliance stance. I mean more, it's easier to do business with us. We like that flexibility. I actually think that we're not so entrenched in our own methodology that we can't morph and mold with other companies, and actually it's what we want to do. We want to mold with you so we can actually see where you're going and see how we can help in that respect. So
Mitch, any final thoughts?
No, I think I agree with her, and I think that more and more our CROs can work together with sponsoring companies to help define what the best approach is for risk-based monitoring, the better we'll be.
Alison?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I think there's a lot to do, and I think if we can do it together for the betterment of R&D research, I think we're onto a winner.
Well, I'd like to thank you both for your time. Very much appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And thank you so much.
Thanks very much.
We appreciate it. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you.
Thank you.